Thank you. So welcome everybody once again. It's an absolute pleasure to be hosting another one of our certified values-based leadership facilitator support training sessions. Today we're actually going to be talking into the marketing aspects and how you can actually use the various documents you receive to be able to talk into values-based leadership, whether it is in schools, universities, corporate organizations, or even with government organizations. So if you're working with people where you're looking at upliftment and you're looking at how you can engage with people, how you can add value to them, this is going to be a brilliant way to come onto the support session so that we can actually share with you some of our experiences. So a little bit about Jan and I. We've been values-based leadership specialists for the last 8 or more years. And we've learned a lot from being in different countries. And we've also learned from the ground level up what works, what doesn't work, and a lot of the questions that people ask us that's relevant to the industry. So what we did is we actually created an amazing ebook, which has got case studies that you can access from our website, which is keyleadership.com. Jan will write it in the chat box. And what you can do is use that as one of your supporting documents when you're introducing values-based leadership to any company, organization, or even group. Now, what is good about this is that on our call today, we've got Ahmed, who is from Nigeria, but he's currently in Scotland. We've got Shireen, who is South African. We've got Israt, who is coming from Bangladesh. She is part of the young leaders who are the first certified facilitators in Bangladesh, a core group that is part of the CKH network, and they have got access to over 150 universities within their sphere of influence. Now, and then we've got Bafana and Bertha, who are also certified facilitators, but they head up an NGO called Rays of Hope here in South Africa. Now, their target area is Alexandra, which is one of the biggest informal areas in South Africa, which is just below Sandton, one of the biggest business hubs in South Africa. Now, what's amazing is that when you look at the people that are on this call and the people listening to this call, there are going to be people who are directors, they're CEOs of major corporations who are also certified facilitators. There are people who are teachers, and there are people who are unemployed. There are also people who've been in corporate and left it, but have begun their own small businesses. There are people who run ECDs and NGOs. So there are people who are also running incubation hubs. Their focus are on entrepreneurship for youth, and there's entrepreneurship for SMMEs, for small and emerging businesses that are coming into the market. A lot of people are using values-based leadership for various focuses and various areas that talks into their passion. Now, one of the things I'm going to be talking about, why it's going to be easy for you to market, is that the program, the script, and the values all remain the same. The way you actually showcase it is going to be totally dependent on what your passion is and who your focus group is. So if you're talking into youth development, you want to be talking into the pain points and the challenges that young people have. You don't want to be talking about how values-based leadership is going to change the world. You want to be talking into your target audience and saying that I understand that in your community, there's a lot of alcohol abuse, a lot of drug abuse. There's a lot of violence, there's a lot of gangs. That's a pain point. That is something that the whole community are frustrated with. So when you're marketing, you look at what is the frustration of the people, what are the challenges they are experiencing, and then you look at where the values actually challenges their growth to be able to change that whole environment to become solution focused. So when we were working with groups of young people, We dealt with people who were in gangs, people who were already in jail. So juveniles who've already been to jail and they've been hardened by a system or by people or feeling not good enough. Now, what are we addressing there? Not that they had a violent past or currently in a situation that they are hurting. What we want to address there is how they feel emotionally about themselves that caused them to get to this point. So when you're looking at values-based leadership, you are looking at a tool that can realign the causes of all of the issues in society that causes symptoms. Unemployment is not that there's not enough jobs. Unemployment is because many people were not given the education system, the skills development opportunities to be able to upgrade themselves, to be part of jobs that are meaningful or actually talks into their passion and what they enjoy. A lot of people accepted jobs because that was a way and a means of earning money. So when we look at unemployment, you're not trying to realign unemployment. What you want to do is upgrade the way people feel about themselves, the way they step up in terms of self-confidence and the inner belief that they deserve and that they can have more in their lives. And when you can do that, then these guys actually start, or these ladies and gentlemen start to feel that there's possibility in life. You are sowing hope into their lives by giving them the skill sets for them to now see themselves as wholesome, healed human beings. That being said, we are not counselors. We are not psychologists. We're not here to go and change the world, but we will impact the world because what we're doing is giving people the skills to understand what this value means to their life. You're giving them the ability to reflect on where they are in their lives. Then you're giving them an understanding of the characteristics that they can embody to become somebody who has got this value in their lives. Then you give them the steps to follow. And most importantly, the action and evaluation step gives them the accountability to set a small goal that they can practice this value. That always brings positive impact. And if we can get to the point where people feel so brilliant about themselves, there'll be no reason why they feel the need to bully somebody, why they feel the need to go to alcohol as coping mechanism, why they need to take drugs because now they feel like somebody listens to them. Now they won't feel like being violent. They won't feel like reacting. So what you're doing effectively is you are adding tremendous value to people's lives by giving them the tool and the skill and the technique to continuously sustain the change. It's not a once-off motivational speech. And so when you talk into people in that way, suddenly they have an aha moment. If you've got a family in distress, what you're doing is you're not saying that the man was wrong or the woman was wrong. You're not going to sit over there and try and counsel them. What you will say is, listen, I understand that both of you are really frustrated right now. May I show you a really simple tool that would add tremendous value to both of you in this moment? How would you feel about me sharing a technique that's worked for me when I feel frustrated or I feel angry? You're always going to get a yes. And when you get a yes, you're going to have people then engaged and they want to actually listen to what you say. And because you've got so many values, you could use the value of listening in that moment. And you can say, well, let's just go through this. All you got to do is just read these paragraphs. I will start first, then you'll read, and then I will read. And let's underline the things that stand out for us. And then we're going to discuss it for a minute. And then we're going to go through the next step and we're going to fill in this action step. Now, remember, what's important is that this is going to be specifically for you only. So if there's a couple sitting there, you can explain that this is for your personal development. I am not going to talk about what happened. I'm not going to interfere with your relationship or the challenges. Let's just do this for a few minutes. It only takes about 20 minutes. And let's see how we feel about this afterwards. We can have a discussion. Now, what you've done is you've actively introduced values, the values-based leadership program, as a tool to resolve a pain point. You did not go in there saying, I'm trying to sell you a program. You saw that there was a challenge and you offered that. Now, with the groups of youngsters who were having a lot of issues, we used goals, we used boundaries, we used restraint, we used listening, we used respect as some of the values. And within that time, we saw that the change that the young people had was tremendous, because for the first time, they felt like somebody was listening to them, even though it was only in the baby groups. Now, here, what we're doing is we're not saying to people, we need to listen better. The adults need to listen better. It's not about judging people, because the best way to actually promote or encourage people to join the values-based leadership program is not to say to them, you need development. What you're saying is that I found the most incredible tool that has been adding amazing value to myself. I couldn't speak in front of people until I realized that there were certain aspects that I was fearful of personally. And when I did these values, suddenly it opened up my world to possibility. So what you're doing always is you're using the emotional words, the emotional triggers. If you are in a corporate company, one of the brilliant things that a lot of them would battle with, and they will use the big words, the corporate words. They'll say, we've got a problem with retention of staff. We've got a problem with backbiting and gossiping. We've got a problem with interdepartmental issues. We've got a challenge where we've got racism or diversity issues, communication issues, emotional intelligence issues. We've got challenges where people have got intolerance towards each other's religions, their genders. And what you're doing is you're not saying, well, I can come and resolve your issue for you. You ask them meaningful quality questions. What would leadership look like if we had to realign the organization on a level where everybody was resonating at the same level of behavior, understanding, and a foundation built on respect and communication? What would that look like to you? How would you feel about that? One of the key aspects that I always talk about that really makes a massive difference is I actually say to a lot of management teams, how would you feel if you were now able to do your job to the best of your ability by leading an organization, but you manage policies and procedures, because that is what a company is built on. You need all of those systems in place to work seamlessly. But to lead means that you need to lead people. You need to understand human behavioral issues. You need to get to that point where you engage meaningfully. And these are some of the processes I have used. And you will always find that people will say, yes, please. I want to run my organization by leading rather than managing human behavior. Now, when you look at the nuances of marketing, what you're doing is you are resolving an issue that people have got a pain point and they've got a challenge and they don't know what to do. They've tried team building, they've tried conflict resolution, they've tried communication skills, they've thrown emotional intelligence, they've thrown wellness training at it. But majority of the times, you have the same issue comes back all the time, because what they did was they threw training at the surface level. They never went in depth to the point where people had personal development and they had self-reflection that allowed them to grow themselves to the point where they realized that maybe they were the problem, or they needed better skills development in various areas of themselves. So when you look at what we have got here, this is one of the I'll just give you a very, very quick example. Can you guys see this? Can you see my screen? Just a quick one.
Yes.
Shireen?
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
excellent.
Yes.
Excellent, thank you.
Yes, you can.
I'm just going to slideshow this one. This is a recent proposal I put together. Now, in all of your files that Jan sent to you, you would have received a copy of my proposals. And the reason I did that is because I want you to have the best ability to have the same information that we have and then talk into it. But what I'm going to do is show you the very basic way that I've introduced this into the company. Now, they came to me, and it's Mercedes. They came to me with the need to resolve diversity and inclusion as one of the imperatives for next year, because they've never had the program before. And they were very interested in running that and getting to know more about diversity and inclusion. So I suggested, once I'd given them the diversity and inclusion proposal, I asked them whether they would be interested in sustaining the change and the personal development of the people. And they said, absolutely yes. And what I did is I asked them, so what are your company values? And when they told me what their company values were, I immediately said to them, that is brilliant, because we have got a program or a tool that is in line with your company values that will cement those values and more. How would you feel about that? And they said, absolutely. I said, if we could put the responsibility and accountability of people's development in their own hands, then would you be interested? See, what I did there is I used the if and then method. If I can show you a way where your people can embark on a journey of self-development, then would you be interested? Now, immediately, the answer is yes. So we send them an overview proposal that talks into these various aspects. And what I did was I just put together this one that gives you an overview of the whole program, starting with a survey in-house. And then I said to them, then we connect with you. And from that survey, it actually shows you where the disconnect is within the organization. I didn't use words like where there's problems. I didn't use words like where you're ineffective or less productive. I said, these questionnaires will give you an insight into where there's a disconnect within the organization and where there's room for improvement. So the way you choose your words speaks volumes about how you can engage with the client, who will always keep an open mind and know that you're an ally to them and that you are partnering with them on this journey. Then we actually explain that this program has got over 48 values. So it is a 48-week program. However, that is the bigger picture. The one, when the survey is done, it actually shows you immediately what is the immediate areas that needs attention within the organization, and you're guaranteed to see the results from the first module of 10 values. Remember, each module has got 10 values. Now, what the 360-degree survey does is it allows us to actually create specifically the first module based on their survey and what their immediate needs are. Now, the survey actually shows you where are the 5 greatest strengths in the organization and where the 5 rooms for improvement is, and they link it together, and that's where your first module of 10 comes from. A company will see immediate impact by implementing it in that way. And that is why we say that it is, all the values are interchangeable according to the industry, the environment, or the area you wish to impact. Now, this is just a baby graphic that shows that it's a simple process. It only takes half an hour once a week for 5 people, under an hour for up to 10 people, which means an organization has got the ability to transform the organization with just an investment of 1 hour once a week. Some of the areas that you will have access to is understanding that we are training the facilitators within your organization so that they can actually facilitate the process. They do not train other trainers. We train the facilitators to host this program in-house. It's in line with the best practices internationally. We're talking about leadership, youth development, women empowerment, and all the other areas of development, specifically according to the United Nations SDG goals and more. Then we talk about sustainability. Now, that is a key word that a lot of companies are looking for. Most programs are once-off. You have a 1 day, 2 day, 3 day program, or some companies run the programs for over a year. But the challenge is that the programs that run over a year are once a month, or maybe a couple of sessions online like webinars. But there's no physical interaction or deep interaction of self-reflection, engagement, support teams, accountability buddies. None of them have that, or very few companies have got that in terms of training courses. So when you talk about sustainability, we're talking about all of the various areas where people can then actually see how values impacts the organization immediately, which means you've got a peer-based system of people who are watching each other, guiding each other, supporting each other, rather than people pulling against each other and working against each other in companies, or even in homes, or in schools, because we've done this in many schools, and you find that the faculty, the headmaster has not connected with the heads of departments. The heads of departments don't like some teachers. Some of the teachers don't like some of the children. Some of the children just hate each other. And it's like one of those toxic environments where every level there are different nuances of disconnect. And so when we talk about sustainability, we're talking about everybody in line with looking out for good behavior, being an encourager. And to be an encourager takes a lot of work, because people are so used to saying, no, that is not what you do. No, that was wrong. No, that's not how you do the report. They will say no, but they won't give you the skills or the support to do it differently. There's a problem. Human behavior. Everybody picks on each other, and then it leads to bullying in the work environment, in the home environment, in organizations, or whoever you're interacting with. And that becomes apparent. So when we're talking about sustainability, we have got a system in place as part of this program, which is a rewards and recognition program. And that is called the high five system. Then we've got the posters, which are strategically placed throughout an organization or a school or a home, where if you're doing the value of restraint in that week, the value of restraint posters can be put up all over the place to show that this is the value we're doing this week. So it is an emotional trigger for people. It's a visual trigger. And then there's always a saying that allows people to then engage with that. And then when you go into the 3 steps and areas, we've got the roundtable process, which is what all of you experienced. Then you've got the reinforcement, and that is where we've got those promotional posters, we've got bracelets, we've got the high five certificates, and they've got stickers, and they've got templates that we've got access to. And when you get to that stage and you want to have those things, we order them for you via the sister company from Ohio, but it'll be branded with all of your stuff on it. Then you've got the 3rd level, which is recognition. So we talk about the 3 R's in the values-based leadership program: the roundtable, the recognition area, and then reinforcement. Reinforcement and recognition. Now, the recognition, what I love about it is that they've got high five certificate templates and the stickers, character certificate templates. And what that does is it allows people, when I spoke earlier about the peer-based managed value system, where people are continuously looking for what's good in each other, they no longer look at what somebody did wrong. They suddenly see what's of value in a person. And what this does is it allows them to then recognize the person and give them a certificate or nominate them for a certificate. Behind each certificate, so if we said Ahmed received the value of listening as a recognition for his amazing listening skills. He did not interrupt people. He did not talk over people. We are recognizing his personal growth in the value of listening. It gives you an excerpt of the value of listening, but in the back, actually gives you an entire breakdown of all of the characteristics of somebody who is excelling in that value and why he's being recognized for that value, which means that the recognition is so much more powerful than just your name on the front of the certificate saying that you achieved. It tells you why you achieved. And I think that is really powerful. Now, when you look at some of the areas, the impact on participants, now all of you have got this, you've got my paper proposal in your documents that Jan sent you. And this gives you an idea of some of the areas that impacts on a participant. So if you were sitting with a family, you could say that when they have gone through this program, you're going to see that there are more loving relationships that come out of this. There's a lot more care, a lot more thoughtfulness, a lot more meaningful engagement. You're going to see tangible results, like when people are sitting at the table, they switch off all electronics and they listen to each other and ask beautiful questions. You will notice that people are a lot more thoughtful with each other when they're at functions. They actually look after each other, they serve each other a lot more. And it's those small things that people are looking for. But it's difficult to quantify it in a proposal document. However, that being said, the way you speak to people is how you will engage with them and say values-based leadership affects and impacts all of these areas. And when you look at some of these outcomes, the outcomes are powerful for organizations. It can realign and create what I always say is we will bring to you a process or a tool that will create values-driven individuals who will then impact and create a values-driven organization, who are then able to offer a values-driven quality service to all of their clients and all of the people that they interact with. And they will be the quality people who can be relied upon, who understand the depth of values and how it actually adds to people. And so they no longer chase a bottom line. They will find that the bottom line of the company increases tenfold regardless, because you've got people who are happy in the organization. You've got a reduction in the way that people there's no longer absenteeism. There's no longer backbiting and backstabbing and gossiping. There's a reduction in CCMA cases and conflict. There's a reduction in bullying in the organization. And the reason I say reduction is because realistically, you're going to find that there may be one or two people who actually don't want to be part of something like this. Now, what happens is that because everybody's changing around them and they refuse to change their bad behavior and they refuse to be held accountable, they leave voluntarily. Or eventually, they start to enjoy the process so much that they allow themselves to embrace this as something that is powerful. When I spoke about supporting tools that's available, this is what I was talking about. These are the armbands. This is what the certificates look like. You guys would have seen, these are the high five certificates. This is what the posters look like that can go in the back of the bathroom doors or in the passage. You have the ability, because they're templates, you can overwrite them. You can write, you will notice that you can have the value of that week. It also has got space to acknowledge people. There's fun things of whose birthday it is, anniversaries, and it's personalized. And then your Pareto principles are for people who take the SMART goal to a different level of the 80-20 principle. And so when there are companies that want that, they can actually order that for the teams. Now, the posters look something like this, but they're different colors. So when you look at these posters, it has got a leading paragraph from within the actual value and gives you a trigger sentence that allows you to remember what you read. And throughout the entire week, as people walk past it, They're continuously being reminded of the value. Now, when you look at it from that point of view, it's easy to stimulate the brain from the visual side, the audio side, and the kinesthetic side, because it evokes feelings and emotions for people. And it's a beautiful reminder tool. Now, you would have noticed that this is how, and we do the pricing structure, but I've already given all of you the pricing structures for yourselves personally. But on the additional side, people love videos. So what we did is we put in the video links, which is on YouTube, which shows you the different processes. It's got testimonials. We've even got from people who've been in a prison system and how it affected them, and transform. And this is basically based on the Guatemala experience, the one that Jan was part of. And then what you do is you put in your profile. And I think that is a very important one, is that when you are a values-based leadership facilitator, you are not limited to actually showcasing all of the other brilliant aspects of what you've achieved in life. This is one part or one aspect of your life. Where people will be sold on who you are as a values-based leadership facilitator is the fact that your life's history, your experiences, and everything adds value to the character of the human being who is engaging with the client or the person in that moment. So you don't have to have had loads of experience as a facilitator already. Who you are and what you've done before will speak volumes in that moment as well. And then what I've just done is I've just put in some of the clients that we've interacted with over the years, because that just shows some credibility. So in your experience, who are some of the clients you've had before? What companies have you dealt with before? Can you just put in just a paragraph or two that shows some of your experience before, whether it's in corporate or government, in your NGOs, in the schooling system, or wherever your field of experience is or expertise are. So, I mean, that is your, and I'm going to be going through it very quickly because there's quite a lot I want to share with you. And so then the next one I'm going to show to you is a document, and I'm going to put this document into the WhatsApp group. And the reason being is that I believe it will add tremendous value for you to read through and ask questions of the organizations. Now, I asked GPS to create a document for me that would help me personally when I first heard about the program. And so they actually put this together for me. And what was beautiful and amazing is that they said to me, when you go into an organization, these are some of the questions you can ask. When you want to run this for over 1,000 people, these are some of the areas that you can actually speak into, work out how do you do this, what are the limitations, what are the expertise, what is going to be, what do you need to do, who's going to be responsible, and all of the various questions that you need to ask, or when people ask you, you're able to then speak into these areas. So this is a document I'm going to send to you because there's quite a lot in here that's going to add massive value to you. Now, I know that earlier today, when we were in the meeting with Rays of Hope, Bafana and Trish asked some amazing questions. And that was, how do you roll out this program? Do I have to be fully responsible and take this on as a full-time job? No, you don't. What you want to be doing is bringing in volunteers, and you want to bring in people, even if they are not certified facilitators, and you bring them in to understand the process, and then they run your administration, they run your documents, they collect the data, they connect with people, they set up your meetings, and this is how you will leverage your time better. Now, remember I said there's the High Five program that you've got access to, but that you only need to start delving into when you are working with the companies, the teams, the schools, or the industries that want to take this to the next level are bringing in the reinforcement and recognition side. So this is a brilliant program, a brilliant document that you will have access to. And then there's the next one that I think is going to be extremely awesome for you to see. This is what the 360-degree survey brought to us as we ran this in Swaziland for an entire EXCO team. It was the entire executive team, the board, as well the CEO, and all of the management. We ran this this VBL 360-degree survey to find out where the disconnect was and how we could structure their modules correctly. Now, this is what came out in terms of the answers. So when they were going through the different the different challenges that they had, and they were going through what the solutions were, we actually said to them that we will run the survey, and the survey will actually tell you exactly where the challenges are and the room for improvement is. Shireen, I will answer your question in a few minutes. What this did as well, it showed how many people answered, and then what were the results that came from it. And you see, based on these results, we were able to then put together the module that worked best for all of them. So when you look at how these surveys can actually play a massive role in big organizations and rollouts, you don't have to do it in small groups. You don't have to implement it everywhere. You can also create your own monkey surveys. But when you look at these guys, they didn't have a challenge. Planning was not a massive one, but sewing, common sense, facts, all of these, hope, they needed this a lot more than most people do. Here, resolving conflict was a big one. Criticism was a big one. Ethics was a massive one. When you look at correction, forgiveness, you're starting to see a trend here where the 360-degree survey adds massive value, where you don't have to try and work out where the challenges are in the company. This makes it all easy for you, and this is run by GPS themselves. They send us a link, and that is for the big teams that want this. They send us the link, and the results go to GPS, and they send us this report. And then what we've got here, the last one before I take Shireen's question, is there is a very, very quick, let me see if I can make this a bit bigger for you, a brochure that, okay, it's a bit cut off, but I just thought I'd screen capture a copy of the brochures that some of the guys in America use. And this just talks about some of the areas that people want to hear. And it's got the various aspects I was talking to you about, the 3 R's. And then you get a bigger picture of what I was talking into just now, clearer picture. And there's your 360-degree survey. So, ladies and gentlemen, with that, I am going to stop sharing, and I'm going to open up the floor to questions. Are there any questions?
Hi, everybody. Hi, Aarti.
Hi, Hafsa. Salam, how are you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Awesome to have you here.
Thanks for sharing with us again. It was so good hearing you again. I missed you.
I missed you too.
What I wanted to find out, so you have all these projects running. How about if you maybe keep us on a database, and if there's a need, say you have somebody in Pretoria, and then you use us to do some of the work for you here or wherever we are. Do you have that kind of arrangement with any of the facilitators?
We have an unspoken arrangement with every single one of you, including yourself.
Awesome.
Yeah, one of the things we actually said for all of our certified facilitators is that you're part of our key leadership team. And when we roll out these bigger projects, we only use the teams that we certified ourselves.
Okay.
So all of you were certified by us. So when we have got big programs and we've got a massive vision that we're about to unroll, we're just busy talking to a lot of key players and stakeholders, because we're wanting to launch Transformation South Africa next year. And the key area for Jan and I is specifically to have our own teams of people, a few hundred to a few thousand trained by us. And we will be going into a stadium and training 20 to 30,000, 50,000 people in one hit in a day. And that's going to need all of our facilitators.
Oh, great. We're looking forward to that.
Yeah, that is our vision. That's what we've been working on for the last few years. We've already got buy-in and support from Durban, who have offered Moses Mabhida Stadium. We've got the Mangosuthu University, who've offered their 19,000 students, or 21,000 now. And we've had quite a number of companies saying that they want to come on board to be a part of their rollout, but we want to actually launch it here in Johannesburg. And so the teams of people that we are growing right now, we've got NDAs and joint ventures with a number of massive groups. And one of the brilliant teams that we've got on board right now that we're working with, the two people are here on the call at the moment. Bafana and Bertha are from Rays of Hope. They're our latest partners as an NGO. And they are starting the transformation of Alexandra specifically. So the whole of Alexandra. Rays of Hope is an NGO, and they've been doing tremendous work in Alex for a long time. And their vision is to bring in the other 70 NGOs under the umbrella, or to collaborate with them to run values-based leadership through the entire community, to see an upliftment, a change, and an impact that has not been seen anywhere else. We were approached today and told that since Alexandra has Rays of Hope are doing this in Alex, there are other people who are feeling left out, and they now want to launch the exact same thing in Diepsloot and in Soweto. And also, we've actually trained young leaders in Katlehong. So, I mean, there's so much scope for where we want to go, and that's on community level. We also are looking for women empowerment groups, youth development groups. We're looking for men development groups. We're looking for men and women in support groups that are working with orphanages, and wherever we can, we are certifying facilitators to be part of an army of facilitators that are about to impact South Africa on a very different level.
Great stuff. Looking forward to it.
I'll invite you when we're having the core team meeting. We're going to have a brainstorming session to bring people onto the board for Transformation South Africa. And it's going to be a lot of people from different aspects, industries, and spheres of influence. So I will remember to just throw you in as well. And Hafsa, while you're on the line, we've got Israt here from Bangladesh. We've got Shireen, who is in education and also working with underprivileged areas in terms of development. We've got Ahmed, who was part of the men's development team with Jan. And he's originally from Nigeria, but went to Scotland last month, and he's there for the next month or two. Then we've got Bertha and Bafana from Rays of Hope. But online, separately to this, we've also got a few CEOs, directors, and a lot of people of influence in the main VBL certified WhatsApp group. So I would encourage you guys to connect with each other on that group as well.
Thank you.
Will do.
Jan, is there anything you want to add?
Just a question from my end after Jan has spoken.
Okay, no, Bafana, go, because I think Jan's closing a door.
Okay, thank you. No, thank you so much once again for the great presentation. I think you always spot on with these. And yeah, it was good just catching up earlier today as well. Just a simple question. I'm just, and I think I just want to echo what I said today to say, to do this right, it's a full-time job. Because I was sitting there and trying to think, how do I do this so well, because it needs to be done well, but how do you do this with your day job, and what's sort of going to give? But I guess that the question becomes, in light of this huge, and I get the whole transforming South Africa dream, big stadium, 50,000 seater setting. And it's to say, how do we then bridge the inequality divide? And you would know the South African dynamic really, that, I was exposed to this because I was in an organization that affords to an extent, and obviously we would now, as Rays of Hope, try and deliver this sponsorship, because there needs to be value attached to it. But my big question really is, is there a strategic way to say, when we do this divide or this, national takeover, could we quantify and say, if it's 50,000 we're looking at, for example, could we have 25,000 coming from affluent South Africa because they were able to afford, access, and then could we have 25,000 deliberately targeted, but to go back and infiltrate places where people would not afford? Because growing up in a township and born in a township, there's so much that you miss out on, not necessarily because you don't want to learn, but just because there's no exposure. And exposure often comes with access, and access often comes with finance.
That's an excellent question. And I love that question, because the main aim for when that launches is that we would have sponsors from this country and around the world who will be sponsoring that event. And we will have people collaborating for the continuation and the sustainability of it. And that is why it's taking us some time, because we need key players in this. It's not a once-off project. There needs to be systems put into place. There's got to be big groups of people to handle this. And we also need to automate this entire system. So this is going to impact, and I think one of the important keys is that it's not meant for only just affluent and for people who can't afford. It's going to be meant for every single person and must be made affordable, that every person gets values in their hands. And that is why we're actually looking at the education system, and we're looking at getting it into curriculum, because then that is going into schools as compulsory. And then you don't have to wait for 50,000 people in a stadium. It must go compulsory into every education system, whether it is in the universities, the colleges, the TVET colleges, or even in the schools, starting from baby levels all the way through. And so when you put it into the education system as curriculum, then it's compulsory and it is paid for by the state, which means that one of the questions that we are busy asking right now, in fact, that is a conversation I had today, is getting in contact with our local mayors and with the ministers and higher up. And I've actually been having this conversation with a few influencers who are going to be connecting us to the professors and everybody else that can actually take this into curriculum, because this is bigger than all of us. But we need the right people of influence in the right area strategically placed to do this. So, Bafana, I know that your connection actually jumped out for a bit, but when you go over the recording, you'll see that I have answered your question, because a lot of people are experiencing their internet cutting off with the storms at the moment. So that's not a problem, and I will give you a shout, and I'll also answer in the WhatsApp group to add value to your question. So I hope that answered it. Okay, you're most welcome, Bafana. Any other questions? We are a captive audience here. We cannot escape you.
I think I just have some recommendation and appreciation First of all, I would like to using this opportunity to send my special appreciation to Key Leadership Academy and you in particular, and your wonderful husband, because I'm so very grateful for you. And I believe if not because of you, I would not be here in Scotland. By the time I joined Key Leadership Academy, I learning a lot, and despite the fact that I play an NGO, but I have some fear in my mind most of the time, especially when it comes to issue of public speaking. Most of the time, I used to assign in some of my team members to represent me on so many occasions in Nigeria. But after I finish my 6 weeks leadership training, I become I certifying myself. I become so very courageous, and anytime if there is any issue related to public speaking, I don't fear anything. Even here in Scotland, I thank God in sports with Key Leadership. I speak on COP26 coalition during the COP26 conference. I speak on youth leadership capacity building hub in Blue Zone. And also there are some interviews which some TV station they did to me. And even now I'm expecting another interview with BBC, but I don't know. Yes, before I go back home, they say they will interview me. So I'm so very happy and grateful for Key Leadership Academy. I really appreciate and thank you very much. And I'm looking forward to work hand in hand with you. Thank you.
Most welcome. You're most welcome. But thank you everybody for being on the call. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hand over to Jan so that he can close off the session.
Yeah, well, thank you. And as always, when Artie talks, I listen. See, I'm married now, so I should do that anytime anyway. But yeah, and obviously, as I always keep saying, I'm married up. But no, it's wonderful to walk side by side, not only with Artie, but with all of you, because all of you matter. And Ahmed, thank you really very much. But you have to remember that you are the one who did the work. I mean, I know because of internet connections, we made it work, and we did several sessions after the 6 weeks together. So we got through there, and yeah, that gave me hope as well, because I saw the change in you and the confidence growing. So, and it's happening to everybody who gets involved. I know from stories from Bangladesh and Israt and her amazing team, and everybody, and already the impact it's making with Rays of Hope, with a team that is excited about the beginning of next year. We were there earlier on today, but it is wonderful because, you know, when you've seen the video from Guatemala, it shows you there, not really everything, but it shows you that there were some groups where they went to the army and some to homes, and we were in hospitals, we were in banks, we were in churches, we were everywhere to do those kind of things. And that was something, I'll just unplug my laptop just in case, but that was something that really covered all areas, as Bafana said as well. You know, we need to walk this journey together, and we need that diversity and inclusion. So if we did not include every area of life and every area of this country, we would not be able to call that transformation South Africa, because transformation any country, if it has to include great numbers, even respectively so. You said, will it include 50-50? I think we should have, where the biggest problems are, we need the biggest amount of people to come to the table, and we want the biggest amount of facilitators to work with us into that stadium when it is happening. And therefore, I'm excited as well about each and every one of you, and where we are now supporting, and that is our role. Our support role is for with Rays of Hope now as well, where they're tackling. I mean, they've done so much amazing work over many years already in Alexandria, and I know that working together with you and supporting you in this process, we will get many facilitators out of Alexandria who will be with you and Rays of Hope and the other NGOs walking with into that stadium. And that's exciting because yes, we need each other more so than ever before. We need to connect with people at a heart level and really realize that humanity needs to move forward, and values is exactly where that will happen, can happen, and should happen, because that is the foundation of life, of business, and of our social environment. So if we need to make sure, and that's what Artie said as well, we need people from all kinds of areas to be with us, like in the core team, like from government, from education, from NGOs, from business, from all these kind of areas, and individuals who've got a heart for making a difference, but never really knew how to, but they want to. And that's to say, okay, I said a long time ago, yes, as maybe some of you didn't know yet, but this last week, another group of about 180 people went to the Dominican Republic to start Transformation Dominica, and they trained 30,000 people roughly in a week. Now, we started off in Guatemala with 19,000 people in 3 days, but these 30,000 people, that came through a lot of work on the ground in the Dominican Republic by the people who were actually there. And I said, when I came back from Guatemala, and I said it to Artie when I first met her as well, there is enough people in any country, including South Africa and including Nigeria. There is enough people in any country, and of course Bangladesh. I just mentioned every country here at the moment. But there is enough people in every country who've got a heart and want to make a difference and want to feel the significance. Now, if we can help them to get to feel what I felt the first time I went to Guatemala, and what we all keep feeling because of the way we change, if we can get that into other people's hands, because when John Maxwell always said, once you've tasted significance, and he says it in the video as well, success will never be enough. And we want people to, yes, we want people to have success. Yes, we want organizations to have success, but we want every individual. Significance has nothing to do with money. We want every individual to feel significant. And when we start this transformational journey, well, it's not the start. It is actually when we walk into that stadium together, or the stadias, whatever they call it, because somebody, when we did a training to 100 people in Durban, somebody said, but we've got the Moses Madiba Stadium. Why can't we do it here as well? I said, of course we can. So that is wonderful. But that point, it won't be the start of Transformation South Africa. It started with the people who are here, but all the facilitators already trained. And while you're here, and while you're joining this journey with us, yes, Bafana, and you said it today as well, for some people that will be a full-time job, but if we will find other people who are going to work with us, as you will find in the Rays of Hope team as well, who really want to get actively engaged much more, and they have more time available as well. And so we will support, and I'm talking to the Royal, we like you as well, because you've got another job already, but we will be able to support all these kind of people who have got more time available, and make the best of it, so we can support and guide them, and of course take them and their teams into the stadium as well. So it's going to be an exciting journey together. We need to talk more every week on these kind of marketing strategies, and how we can help you to get it out to organizations, because you've also got the leaflet of the booklet about Ireland, Lift Ireland, after 3 years, and they've done phenomenally well. But they use them. She calls it the Robin Hood method, where they go to corporates for their CSI budgets, and for their they make an investment in the training of facilitators and the module books into their organization. They pay a little bit more for it, but they do so the NGO can not only exist, but also help those and the poorer end, which we also talk about, with sponsoring their modules and their training as much as we can, because that's when we start to get united at last. Because at the moment there is more and more divisiveness in the world, even more so now, and we need to bring this together and make sure that we really become that all that colors the rainbow nation, that we really get those people together. And that's I know I speak for Bangladesh as well, where this is already started. Nigeria's got major problems as well, especially in the area where Ahmed lives. And it says, the more we can engage with people and support each other around the world, because we all have issues in every country. If we can help and guide and support each other with bringing that basis of values in the education system, in our youth who are the leaders of tomorrow, and into the leaders we've got just now, as well as every household, then, you watch, the countries will change, and the countries are changing. And I know that it begins, the slogan for this is transformation begins with us, and transformation is in us. And we know it, I felt it. And this way, I am just so happy to be here with you and to see this ever growing army of volunteers, army of people who've got a heart for making a difference. So it's a blessing and a privilege to be here with you. And I think I've said enough. I didn't know what I was going to say beforehand, but I mean, I'll put an end to it just now. But thank you all for being with us, and we look forward to supporting and guiding you and helping you wherever we can, as much as possible. And say this is either on Wednesdays or Thursday evenings, and we'll see you 5 or 6 o'clock is better for most. But we'll make it a time that we can answer questions, help in different areas of support in any way we can, and we'll keep that a weekly thing so more and more people can join us. But we'll send this recording into all the different groups as well, so people will get access to it as well. But let's do this together.
Wow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ati and Jan.
You're most welcome. And thank you to all of you awesome people who have been part of this journey. It's about to get crazy. It's about to get awesome. And we are privileged to have you walking alongside us on this journey. So it's a thank you from us and massive gratitude from Jan and I to all of you. Have a most beautiful evening, all of you, wherever you are. And we're hoping to catch up again next week. We will see you guys.
too. Thank you so much.
everybody.
And thanks
Thank
for being
you.
so selfless. You really have such a huge, huge heart. Thank you, Ati. Thank you, Jan.
You're
Thank
most
you so
welcome.
much indeed.
Thank you,
you.
everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye,
Archie. Thanks,
everybody.
Jan. Ciao, ciao.
Bye.
Bye.